They snatched up 200 of us. They brought us to the gym. They stripped us all down. They put us in cages in Newman. One dude was like, I'm not having that. You never seen him again. Now there's 199 of us. We all heard about Susan Baranowski being opening soon, the Max prison, all that talk. It was talks for years. Not all these STG. It can't be half these cats. I know this dude ain't even talked to nobody STG. And all of a sudden they're like, by the way, we're reclassifying you guys to Dallas, Texas. And I'm like, oh.
Ain't got a moment. When they see you down, just know they love it.
Okay, so you got this new lawyer. Your confidence levels going up a little bit. Trials coming up.
Trials coming up, confidence levels going up. Now we going for like a motion to suppress evidence. She brings up a couple things in the evidence to suppress evidence. Meanwhile, every time I went to court, everybody's going just to see what's going on and everything. Once evidence starts coming up about suppression this and that, and things are getting all the ball rolling, my lawyer starts like raising ears to certain things, and now she wants to look into more of this and that. Out of nowhere, the DA comes to her and was like, well, now granted, this has been over a year. She hasn't offered me anything but the second, like, plea down to manslaughter, the 18 to 20. We're not doing this. It's truth in sentencing. 18, you're going to do the 18. It wasn't back in the day, take a 20, conk it, and you're out in 2 and all that. This whole system just changed, truth in sentencing. I think it was like July of 94 or something like that. And even with the plea, like when they offered, when she's telling me 18 to 20, I'm like, damn, I got to spank that bottom number before I'm even close. I'll never even see good time or nothing. We weren't going with that. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, she tries to think about like bringing up this and that. The judge is like, well, we'll have a hearing on this, the suppressing certain evidence, this and that. The DA comes to me. It comes to my lawyer. My lawyer comes to see me the next day like, I don't know what happened. I don't know if she's just starting to read into certain things and looking at certain things, but she's talking about she might have a plea by the end of the week for us. And I'm like, oh shit, like, what did you say? And then now, you know, even her level's like, and she was like smaller than me. Her confidence level was crazy. Like when I would stand behind her, I felt like she got this. Even in my case, she cried in the courtroom for me. Like, listen, you got to start listening and learning about this case. So I don't know who else she persuaded or even raised the possible doubts of certain things in my case. The DA comes and was like, the victim's family doesn't want him to get 15 to life. They understand. And my whole thing too was like, since day one, even when I used to get caught with a car, this and that, I never was bagged to be like, it ain't me. It wasn't me. I would just be like, I take responsibility for what I do. Even since day one, after talking to my parents and knowing the whole scenario and everything, I wasn't sitting here saying, I want to go home. I knew I had to pay for the things that, you know, occurred for me to do this. You know, and at that age, like I said, I was a boy. I was a little boy doing a lot of man shit, but now I had to man up. You know what I mean? And I was already having to do that before, but I wasn't doing it in the sense of the street. And now it's like, damn, I want to do all this, but I might not have that chance.
And they're talking about numbers that's as long as you've been alive.
Yeah, so
number,
basically,
you know what I mean?
I'm 17 years old and just turning 18 while I'm waiting trial, and you're telling me I can do that, and I'm looking at it like, I've only been alive 3 more years than 15, and if it's life, I don't get out till I'm 20-something, and maybe I don't deserve to get out. At one point, I was on some like, I'll just do the fucking time, you know what I mean? But then after a while, you start thinking like, yo, I might have a chance at this and this and that, and you start thinking of other ways, you know what I mean? Everybody goes to jail. I don't give a fuck how you are. You ain't tough. Everybody has that time when you're dead alone. There ain't nobody there, and reality sinks in. Everybody has that, oh my God, that church shit in them, and then before you know it, they get out, they forgot who they were praying to and all that. I never try to fall into any of that. I just knew that I had to right my wrongs from what I've already established, you know what I mean? That was on a Monday. She comes up to us Thursday. She offers us a 15 to 20. And now I'm like, wow, that's a number there. I can do 15. I'll probably get 5 years worth of good time. 15 years. I know I can do 15.
Right.
I'm already almost a year and a half in, 2 years. But there's numbers now to go home. There's a tunnel. There's not like, okay, and at that time, honestly, when I went in, I wasn't hearing anybody going home on parole. You know what I mean? Like, till I got out in 2004, I started hearing lifers get parole. You know what I mean? My lawyer's like, no, that's still not what we're looking for. The DA ended up going to the victim's family, and they were like, we don't want him to do more than 10 years. So the DA was like, what do you think's a fair number? I don't know if I jumped the gun, but I even told my lawyer, like, dude, if they offer me a 9 to 10, it's their 10 years, I'll do it. And my lawyer was like, well, if we're not looking at this and that, let's meet somewhere in the middle. And the first thing that came out of her mouth was like, they don't want no more than 10, and I don't want no more less than 10. 9 to 10, he'll at least do 9 years. Okay, plead down to involuntary manslaughter. She wanted me to plead out to manslaughter. And that was the second deal where I was like, I'm not pleading out to manslaughter. It has to be involuntary. It has to be on paper. I did not voluntarily do certain things, you know what I mean? She was like, we'll do involuntary manslaughter. And they gave me the 9 to 10. When I asked, that's what the family wanted. My family was satisfied with it. My family was going to be satisfied with anything. I had to take whatever came to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Me and my family's whole thing was like, is my friend's family happy?
Yeah.
Because this was a friend of mine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's a sad situation all around.
Yeah, as a kid, especially when you're like, damn, and then all your other friends are just like, that you thought were kind of friends, or even the friend that was in that room, 10 years, you don't even, I've been out 20 years almost.
Congrats.
It still hasn't come to me like, hey, yo, what's up? You ever need anything? You ever thought of anything? I was there. I was involved. X, Y, Z, this and that. Nah. But that was a whole other situation where karma gets motherfuckers and they live their life some way.
Exactly.
And you're not around everybody that I'm around because of whatever you're not around. But that's your life you're living and how you feel. You know what I mean?
But now you do got to go from county to prison. Things a little bit different. What's
So
your
now
first stop?
I'm 18 months in the county. You know what I mean? I'm running around Cambridge. There was another high-profile Cambridge kid that got killed, and some things were done to him. And the dudes that did it get splashed up with some baby oil and stuff. I get shipped out to Springfield. You know what I mean? Right before I plead out. Now I'm in Springfield. I come back. So now all my friends that are my age now are popping up with adult cases at 17 and 17 and 17. You know, if a lot of dudes don't know politics and all that, I don't get into them about this politics of the presidents and all that. But our great president now, he didn't sleep back in the day, and he didn't want young kids to have freedom. He was one of the guys with prison reform that wanted to lock kids up, get monkeys off the street, X, Y, Z, on film saying these things, but you're a president these days, but ruining the youth. You're ruining the country now, but I don't get into that. But ruining the youth. So now you're locking dudes up left and right, prisons, crack. It was sad because I used to feel bad for dudes. I'd be talking to you like, B, how much time you get? Yo, I'm doing an 8 to 10. What? Yeah, 2 rocks.
Right.
Meanwhile, I had an involuntary manslaughter. I got a 9 to 10, but they were hanging dudes for crack cocaine.
Yeah. War on drugs. All that.
Crazy. So, but it also happened in urban neighborhoods. Cambridge is an urban neighborhood.
Absolutely.
You know, a lot of cats don't know how many projects are actually in Cambridge.
I know, yeah.
But there's quite a few. You know what I mean? And it's way different than it was now.
Right.
Back then. You know what I mean? Like Central Square, there wasn't Graffiti Alley when I grew up.
Right.
You look down Graffiti Alley, you said, damn, the cop didn't go down there. I don't go down there, bro. You know what I mean? Like it was Manhattan down there. Now it's Mental Square.
Yeah,
now you can walk around here and it's different.
You get that ride upstate. Where's
So now classification
at the time?
is Walpole.
Walpole, you get your W number.
So you go there for a night. You know what I mean? I wasn't sure if I was going to be at Walpole for a night. I got blessed. It was so crowded that even at that time, this was in 1997 when I went upstate. At that time, so it was 96. At that time, it was so crowded that even Walpole was like, yo, if this dude isn't a threat, isn't in mad tickets and this is, get him out. Just get him a number. So before you know it, I'm in Walpole for a night, get my number and this and that. I go actually with one of my boys who pled out that day. He ended up staying because he was already a system threat group in the county. He was already gang related. So they already had him tagged, you know what I mean? You go upstate, STGs right away. They shipped me to Concord. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, word. Should I have stayed in Walpole? Yeah, because you go to Concord and it was just like off the hook. Classification where another time, you know, you walk in, everybody that's been to prison, you know how it is. You walk into the chow hall. Even Cambridge was different because in Cambridge jail, you were mixed in with everybody, dorms and tiers. You have your own cells. Now you're getting placed in a cell with certain people. Now you have to sit at certain tables. And I seen a lot of dudes go through it with like who they hung with, how they had to. I was blessed that in the 15 to 18 months, half of that jail was already up Concord. So even when I went in, I had older Irish cats from Cambridge and some of them were like, yo, you good. Spanish cats, you good. And in Cambridge, I already had a crew. You know what I mean? I never really had a Cambridge crew in Cambridge. I was mixed up with Lowell cats. And that's when I'm meeting everybody from the Middlesex area. Now you ship me out to, before I went upstate, you shipped me out to for like 4 months out to
Ludlow, whatever.
Ludlow, Springfield. So now when I get in there, all the Springfield cats I know, and I'm like, and
Yeah.
I'm always been this big with glasses, the same person, this and that. I started cutting hair in Cambridge. Got into a fight in the dorms. They kicked me out. Went to the tiers. I came back because I was there so long. I got a job in the canteen. No, I got a job in the laundry room. I get a job in the laundry room. These cats come to prison from doing some vicious shit to a young kid from our neighborhood. You know, we make a statement on our tier. We get to the PC side. This dude gets splashed. He should have burnt his face off, but
rest in peace, Jeff Curley.
you know what it
could
is.
Put it out there.
The dude's face should have been peeled off his face,
Yeah.
but someone was cheap and put more water than baby oil. You know what I mean? They didn't want to go
cut it.
all out. Back then, there's no cameras on the units. They couldn't figure out what laundry person did it.
Right.
But there's only 3 laundry people.
Get them all.
Boom, gone. We go upstairs to the tier. They let us out the next morning. Literally, like no ticket.
Okay,
You know,
gotcha.
no
Yeah,
nothing. Like, yeah, y'all can't work no more.
Yeah.
But you're not going to the hole. You're not getting a
That's your
ticket.
discipline. They kind of.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Literally.
Pretty much.
Thank
yeah.
you. It was Cambridge cats that were there. It was a big Cambridge case. You know what it is.
Yeah.
That's my peoples, you know what I mean, from his brothers down. Long story short, now we tagged to get no jobs. I had a girl that was from Cambridge that I knew, Michelle Green. I believe she passed away since. But she was a CEO in Cambridge and Billerica for a while. I got cool with her. She started running the canteen. She was like, they're not going to give you no movement, but I'll get you back in the dorms working the canteen. So then I'm working the canteen. While I'm working the canteen, I had dead time all the time on the unit.
Yeah.
They brought clippers up there.
Did you already know how to cut it? You just said, let me learn something new.
My haircutting experience started with my cousin who's a firefighter now in Cambridge, Kenny. You know Troy.
Yeah, of course.
Him and Troy were like them dudes, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? They could cut hair and all that. We had a basement in my house that was set up as a little barbershop.
Okay.
My cousin had clientele like crazy. And then Checkmark. That's who used to
shout
cut
out.
me. So he was already cutting. And these were my...
So you started cutting hair on the streets?
When he disappeared and he'd go out to do whatever he was doing, I'd be in the basement touching his shit, fucking my boys up.
Yeah.
So I knew the concept of it. My mother did hair and all that. Now I get up to Cambridge, there's nothing for me to do. So I start fucking my hair up. And the dude's like, oh, you cut hair? And I'm like, yeah. And I gave the dude the worst haircut ever. You know, and I'm trying to blend his hair. I wrecked his hair. But before you know it, here comes another cut. So now I'm just doing like 1 levels and all that. And it was to kill time. And I really wasn't, I didn't have no love for it at that time. Because it's not what I wanted to do. They had mechanics. And I already knew carpentry, like building stuff. This from my dad. So I was already, anything when I was little, I could take a phone apart and put it back together. So I was always good with my hands. So I get to Concord. I go and get a haircut. I seen what it was. Like, yeah. And I still wasn't intrigued like that. I get a job in the kitchen. You know, in Concord, you start hanging with certain people. I'm hanging with a few cats, this and that. We already had a clique from Cambridge. I already had a little crew that I was running with, a couple cats from Lowell here and there. We get STG'd in Concord, System Threat Group. Wow. But there was so many people, and I think it was like J4 or whatever it was at that time, J whatever, that they didn't even have room to house anybody. They didn't have the max at this time. Concord was so overflooded. So now I'm in Concord, I get the STG paper. They're like, you know, you need to denounce. And I'm like, yo, I'm not denouncing nothing. I am nothing. They're like, yo, you're hanging with these cats. I got a Portuguese tattoo with the 5
dots, yeah.
the 5 dots from the islands.
Yep.
No, that's a LK tattoo, 5 points of the crown. And I'm like, no, while you're hanging with this dude, you're doing with this dude, and you know this dude. I'm like, yo, I just know everybody. And I was already moving from the kitchen from Cambridge, moving and shit. Long story short, System Threat Group, they're like, yo, the next boat that goes up to Walpole, you're going to be going to the Jays. And I'm like, damn, I got so much time out here. They took my job in the kitchen right away. They sent me to the lower east or lower west, one of those. They throw me in a cell with this cat. Cat's older than me, but so young-minded, at the door every night. And I'm already kind of like broken into jail, to prison, to being institutionalized from waiting so long in the county, you know what I mean? And just from the time I've already done as a kid. This dude's out all day. You wait till the door's closed to get to the door, banging and talking shit to your boys, and you need this and that. Then he lives on the top bunk, so every time he gets up there, you know, all night. So one night, the next couple weeks, a week goes by, and I'm like, yo, my man, this isn't gonna work out. You're gonna either have to move out, or we're gonna get into a fight, but next time you fucking wake me up with that bullshit, I'm tying you to the fucking bed. And he was like, yeah, you're always joking. I'm like, all right, cool. The next night, I let him sleep. I grabbed the sheet, tied him up. Count time. They kick the fucking door, you know, stand up count.
stand for
yo,
count.
please. I let him down and shit. I was like, yo, stop fucking with me for real. Yeah. I promise I won't do it again. The next night comes. I go to jump up. I get hit with a shield.
What?
I'm like, what the fuck? It was the Ips. It was everybody, men in black, fucking SWAT teamed up. And they're like, Mendonca, because they don't know how to pronounce Mendonca. Mendonca, all I see is the hand. He's pointing on the bed downstairs. I'm gonna let you roll over. They turn you around. They cuff you behind, cuff me around my waist. So I was like, damn, what's going on? And a month before that, they did an STG sweep to Walpole. So I'm like, here we go. We're going to Walpole. Damn. I didn't even touch the cross. I was so small. These motherfuckers put their arms on me, carried me right to the gym.
Damn.
While I'm going to the gym, they got your head forced down. You see like crazy ruckus going on all throughout the jail. They snatched up 200 of us. They brought us to the gym. They stripped us all down. They put us in cages in Newman. One dude was like, I'm not having that. You never seen him again. Now there's 199 of us. We all heard about Susan Baranowski being opening soon, the Max prison, all that talk. It was talks for years, like the Green Line.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, it was coming to like, yo, they open up, then they get us in these cages. Like, by the way, and you look around and you're like, damn. Not all these motherfuckers are STG. It can't be half these cats. I know this dude ain't even talked to nobody STG. And all of a sudden, like, by the way, we're reclassifying you guys to Dallas County House of Correction. I'm like, what's that? The name of the new fucking max? They're like in Dallas, Texas. And I'm like, oh shit. So a year before, I'm in Cambridge. You read in the newspaper, and they grabbed 150 people and they shipped them to Texas. Out of them 150 people, you took 100 vicious cases and 50 manslaughter cases.
Wow.
And shipped them out there. 2 years later, you're grabbing me now. But this time, you're not even shipping one out there. You're shipping all violent offenders, manslaughter, murder, mayhem. Those are the first 3 M's. And then it went down to like assault and battery, dangerous weapons. You're sending all the cats you don't want to Texas because everybody knows prison is big money.
Yeah.
Over here, we live in the Commonwealth. It's controlled by the Commonwealth, so they get $300 and something a day. But when you go to Texas, me and you can build a prison, and that's how it works. You get out there. If you don't know what BBC means, it's the Bob Barker Company. The Price is Right. He supplies your clothes throughout the prisons because it's the Price is Right for him. It's big money. A lot of people don't realize that. You get out there, they're housing dudes for $50 a day. How are you doing that? Bologna and cheese every day for lunch. You don't go outside.
Bare minimum.
One pair of socks, one pair of underwear.
No programs.
No, nothing. You're locked in the unit.
You go on a plane out there to Texas?
So that was the whole thing. Middle of the night, we get in these cages. Dude's already seen this dude get fucked up. You're like, yo, what are we gonna do? They literally shackle you, hog tie you, throw you. We was in the little shuttle buses. 12 people in an 8-man bus.
Damn.
Squeezing us in there in the middle of the night, in the rain, flying like escorts everywhere. From Concord to Logan Airport. We get to Logan Airport, they had a plane company called Kiwi that was shut down for 2 years. They started the plane. The way they loaded us on the plane, they backed the fucking van up. They put the belt down and you went up into the plane, they sat you in a chair and you was in Con Air. So now you're like, yo, what the fuck? This is, the day we left is the day Biggie Smalls got killed. You get to Texas, first thing on the shit is like, we're in Texas and they killed Biggie.
Wow.
This is crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get there and we're in like, you know, this is in March, so it's cold out and we're in the Carhartt jackets, the state ones. We get there, it's like 1,000 degrees. They throw us on a rail school bus, like painted white, like straight up Texas shit.
Wow.
And dudes come on the planes with shotguns and all that, spitting like, yo, boys are gonna have a good time here. This and that. Anybody want to run? Let us know. And talking shit, and you're like, oh damn. So now everybody's over there, like, and now you got a bunch of serious cats. And the good thing again, what was me is some of my crew members that I was crew with.
Y'all went together.
We're there to go. Like I'm looking 5 rows down, like, oh shit, you're here too.
How did the Texas guys look at y'all? Was that ever a
So
thing?
when we got there, our whole plan was like, when we get there, we break this bitch up, and they're gonna have to send us back. What do they do? Right when we get there, they throw everybody packs of cigarettes. They just took cigarettes out of Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
And then every CO, maybe there was like 5 dudes and 40 women COs, and everybody's being nice to you, and they're uncuffing you, and the shit's like mad layback. You're like, yo, what's going on? That was the beginning. You know what I mean? You're like, hey, this is crazy. Then they get us into 30-man units. And now the Texas dudes are on some other shit. They look at you. They had New Mexico prisoners there because now they're taking prisoners from everywhere, like the feds, and they're filling these jails for money. So now they got us with 8 30-man units, this and that. But you're coming from Mass, you're a different cut. We different swag. We different.
Like even though it's separate a little bit in Mass, like you know, racially.
Texas, there was none of that. It wasn't white. There wasn't black. There wasn't Crip. there wasn't red, there wasn't nietas, there wasn't kings. It was, you are a mass boy now. Like, we don't give a fuck. We have to stick together regardless. And it felt good because that's the way I grew up. You know what I mean? And I was like, word, this is kind of dope, like all of us. That shit only worked for a few weeks, you know what I mean? Some cats getting hostile. They got 30 of us on the unit, only certain things going on, this and that. We wild out, we break the unit up, we tear shit down. They broke us up, put us in 8-man units. Now they can control 8 at a time. 24 hours the lights are on, no milk, all for the whole 13 months I was there. You don't go outside, you go in a cage, there's no sun. The lights are on, the AC's on 24 hours. They mentally break you out there, you know what I mean? Every day, it doesn't matter what the fuck you think it's gonna be, it's bologna and cheese for lunch every day.
Just know that.
You know what I mean? Some nights you get chili mac, it's supposed to be like American chop suey. There's like this much motor oil before you can get to any type of pasta or anything. So it was like, you had to live off of either what you hustled there, or canteen was every day, but now a cup of soup's $2 they were getting you. You know what I mean?
Were you cutting here in Texas at all?
So that's what the little hustle went from. When I was in Concord, I needed a visit. I had to get a cut for a visit. No one would cut me. I started cutting myself with a razor. I watched dudes fuck my shit up. I went out there with a ringer thinking it was fresh. I get to Texas, now I'm doing the same thing, start cutting myself. The units across from us, you could see them, so we would yell through like the pods, or send, the Mexican tank was over there, and I was watching this little Mexican dude with just a blade going crazy. So I started picking his coat, and then before you know it, they were like, we need a barber for the unit. And I was like, I'll try that shit. And then that's when I started cutting and being like, oh shit, I'm getting paid here and there, this and that. And it was the movement that I liked. You know, all of a sudden I'm on every other floor. Now I'm moving around. And it was good, but that was like a start of something bad for me because I'm the one with the movement now. And now I'm making moves. And I've been a hustler my whole life, from this to that, from selling stamps to making lollipops in there to cards, you name it.
And when you're moving stuff like that too, you get kind of put in a situation too, because people want things to go from this block to that block. And as a con, you're not supposed to be like, oh no, I don't want to get in
and you're
trouble.
not like, no,
you know what I'm saying?
So
like,
you do it regardless.
It's just the way it's
but
almost
then the
a fine
crew I
line,
was
too. You
also
don't wanna
messing with too, they were on some like, if we can get it from the street, we rocking. We started pushing heroin in Texas. And the thing what it was is, mass cats, like we could talk to COs and we were smooth enough to win them over with anything. We had so much hustle. Like you knew you had hustle and you would do jobs. You would this and that. We started like working around certain things, and then we started coming up with the legal mail. And this was something early in the 90s in jail that a lot of cats were doing. Like we went as far as getting fake papers made with stamps, legal mail, don't open it up, to where you're shaking it off and now you got heroin.
Is this where the outside case comes in?
Years later.
From the Texas situation?
Nah,
okay.
But years later.
Okay.
So I should have had one in Texas. Now we rock, you know what I mean? Me and my mans, I'm with cats that were from other cities that at a young age, that's what they actually got down with, you know what I mean? I used to be like, what the fuck? So now I'm the money aspect. Now I'm getting mad soups, I'm cutting, but I'm also being able to move around. Because I had movement, because of the unit I was on too, that were like real laxy daisy. I remember one time we had a package sent to my unit, and the cop came and he shakes the package, and here comes the shit falling out. It wasn't done right. Wow. The dude scoops it up, takes off. Our whole unit suits up like, yo, they're gonna come for us. The dude never came back. The next day he never came back. Friday he never came back. This motherfucker, because another cat out there kind of told us like, you're dealing with a lot of Mexicans. There's cartel shit out here. This dude was probably like, I don't want this package to know where it came from. I'm done. He didn't even deliver the mail no more. You know what I mean? So we deaded it. It was done for a while. Right before I came back, it started again. It was like, yo, it's on and popping. So, you know, we're making money up there. It wasn't crazy. Dudes were just doing it to get by and shit like that. Once again, my father, being who he is, he knows the world. He ends up making a connection with somebody, and I was trying to get back, and you couldn't get back from Texas. Once you were there, you were there.
How'd you get back?
You would get lucky. So they shipped us out there on a plane, and then all of a sudden, 8 months later, they started taking 20 guys back at a time and bringing 20 guys. But they would now put you on a bus and drive you there and then pick up 20 and leave it. So we were like, every time, and then you were heartbroken because they'd come and you know that cops would all tell you they're coming to get some of y'all tonight. And then you see they come and only get certain people, and you're like, damn.
Hopes get up.
You know what I mean? And it was rough. Like, you make a phone call to your house, it's $30. It's from Texas.
That's
it's not
crazy, yeah.
So now your communication and this, that.
Damn. Never mind, forget a visit. Like, that's not happening.
And even that, like, we dudes had so much running there that you were even getting visits and all that from window visits from other people hooking you up.
Oh, I got you.
But you're not home. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You're not healthy.
So
like,
how did you get back, man? What'd you?
So my father ended up used to hang. Like my father built. I don't know if you know Kendall House of Pizza. That's like my family. He built Desfina.
Yeah, okay.
And Desfina used to be Third and Child's. And my father runs into my lawyer, again, Cheryl, and telling the story. And they're over there having dinner with someone that's like some ill politician. And my father sits down and starts drinking some drinks with him and eating, and runs into the whole story and tells him about this and that. And he was like, wow, dude. Damn, so your son all the way out there? This and that. He's like, yeah. He was like, get me his car number and his name. I'll see if I can make a call. I was on the next bus back.
Wow.
You know
That
what I
must
mean?
have felt good coming back.
You know,
And
I get
so
the
you
call.
were
My
there
pops is like, yo, I made a talk to somebody. I don't know if it's going to
Mm-hmm.
work, but don't worry about it. If not, you should be back with the next bus back. Here I am, shackled up.
Where they
coming
bring
back.
you? Concord?
So we came down. It was 3 days on the road. You stopped in South Carolina, and you stopped in Georgia, and then you stopped in South Carolina. Wow. You stopped in Georgia. Georgia was every CO up. Every cop up there was 7, like 6, 8, bald head, tear gas, pink walls. Like they broke dudes down up there.
Wow.
We were there for 2 days. Like, damn, dude, if I had to do my whole bid like this, it'd be crazy.
Wow. And did they put you like in population with
Right
the
in
other
population.
inmates? It's not like a holding tank
It's like
for the night.
it's like OU, the new
Yeah,
manual.
but it's-
you're still in the.
It's
unit.
not like a separate tank
No.
for y'all. Okay.
Y'all
Yep.
just they were housing
Gotcha.
just
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get the money. Then you get to it was South Carolina or North Carolina, and that was like the first time I seen all these new digital pods and jails with no keys and
Mm-hmm.
everything was all brand new. You know what I mean? They sent us back to Concord, and before I left Concord, I worked in the kitchen. I didn't want to eat the food.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I went to Concord, I was 127 pounds green,
Wow.
soaking wet, like I was malnourished. My mother came on a visit and was like, "Yo, they're killing you." And I'm like, nah, it's just, you're going outside, your skin's burning because you haven't been outside for a year, you know what I mean?
So we see classification there in Concord?
So you go to Concord, I ate everything like I was a hooter, you know what I mean? Like, yo, man, you ain't eating that, let me get that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man.
Get classed again, I was classed to go to Norfolk. So they were like, what do you
Okay.
want to do? And I was like, I want to go wherever the mechanics is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, we can try to class you here and there, but that program is no longer going to be going. So you got to go if you want a program, pick something up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was already cutting, but I was cutting for the movement. I wasn't cutting for the love yet.
yeah.
I really wasn't like, and I was already getting nice with dudes like, yo, you should cut here. Came in with the razor and the comb. I came back, I was cutting everybody with a razor and a comb, making money in Concord. Every movement again, I'm out trying to make money. They classed me to Norfolk. Norfolk got so full, they reclassed me to Shirley Midham. And at that time, they were putting anybody from Somerville, Cambridge, certain areas closest to you is Shirley. You know what I mean?
So by the time you get to Shirley, how much time do you have in on your sentence?
I'm already like 3 years in, 18 months up Cambridge, a year out in 6 months in Concord, a year out in Texas. Concord, I get classed in Norfolk. They reclassed me. They were like, nah, you're going to Shirley Medium now. It's too overcrowded. Plus the criteria of everything, and you got time, and there's programs still left over there. They had optical lab. They had the barbershop. They had the computer classes. They still had a bunch of programs in Shirley. As soon as I get to Shirley, I'm already in Concord, and I was already in the mentality of hustling. I've always been a hustler. Like even when I'm now in my days, I'll do anything to make a dollar. You know what I mean? I came back with like 15 boxes of top cigarettes, and there was no cigarettes here. So we're all hustling in Shirley. This and that. We're still doing the legal mail thing here and there, and my little crew was doing all right. You know what I mean? I'm in Shirley probably like 2 weeks, and I get a call from the barber instructor. Kid that was on my unit. I was stealing all his clients because I came in, I started cutting everybody with a razor. I'm in the yard every day starting to cut. The instructor calls me, he's like, hey, I heard you know what you're doing. Do you want to get into school? And I was like, nah, not really. And the dude was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, because can I get paid here? Can I charge people? And they were like, no, I'm good. Because at that time, I'm making 2 boxes of cakes, 3 boxes of cakes. Each person, I'm knocking 5 people out left and right. My canteen was lovely, everything. And I denied it. And I was like, nah, I'm all set. Here comes my first ticket in Shirley, raises. Second ticket in Shirley, raises. The third ticket, the dude's like, I'm throwing the ticket out because you're gonna get caught with a razor every time. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing nothing but cutting.
Right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? I remember this dude, Mike, he was like, why don't you just go in the barber's program, man? I was like, because I can't make money. He was like, says who? And I'm like, because I can't walk around. He was like, you can still charge, just you're gonna make money in the future. I ended up getting into the barber's program, you know what I
And
mean?
they offered the state license and all of that?
So there was a year program, 1,000 hours, ran by Mass School of Barbering. The state board came up, seeing your license, so I get in there. Before you know it, within months, I'm running the whole school. The instructor loves me, teaching people how to cut hair. I'm already cutting. I had to pass my GED. Did my GED like twice because the first time I failed because I'd rather go play ball thinking I was a ball player.
right.
I'd rather go out to the yard, and you know what I mean? It's 4th of July week and I'm getting a burger, you know what I mean? And I was bullshitting with the school, like always. So finally, they were like, yo, you're going to get kicked out the barbershop. I'm like, what do you mean? They were like, because to do this program, you have to have your GED. And I already had my credits from half of them from Texas. They sent them down. I got my other half. I ended up failing the first time, got it the second time. You know what I mean? The barber exam came down. I killed it. I got a crazy score and all that. And they were like, we're not going to let you leave the barbershop. And I was like, what do you mean? They were like, we're going to keep you as an instructor.
Oh, wow.
Then I'm talking to the owner of Mass School of Barbering. His name was Richie at the time. And he was like, yo, you want to go to Norfolk? And I was like, no. And he was like, yo, I'll send you over there. You can run my school over there. And I'm like, he's like, I could talk to people. I was like, nah, I'm all set. I'm already settled here. My kid comes here.
Yeah.
I got everything here. You know what I mean? Literally, like, if you was in Shirley with me, I was the sneaker dude when sneakers were being traded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You would walk in, I'd be like, yo, my man, I know those are 12s.
Yeah.
If someone's going to get you, let me give you these in a bag. And then I'm walking with them cleaned up in the, walking out the chow hall with no sneakers, guys. Sell them. Used to cut all the COs here, you know.
Wow. Did you feel proud at that moment when you finally got like
Yeah, because
your GED and
I
then
did
getting
because
certified?
I never made it in school at all. I'm like, wow. In the GED, the first time, it wasn't hard. It's just I didn't even study for it. I was like, I got this. I'll be real with you. I wasn't a dumb kid. When I was younger, I went to Catholic school. And in Catholic school, they didn't play that. And I was very smart in Catholic school. I didn't have the patience, you know, the mindset to want to even be in class.
Yeah.
So I already knew my shit. Then I get kicked out of, I get moved to public school, and I was kind of sharper than cats, and I lost total interest in school. Like, I already learned that. You can't teach me nothing, and then everything else intrigued me.
But when do you get to the point where it's like, maybe I want to do this like as a career when I get out?
It was how good I got, how many cats I had waiting on me, how I started loving it. Like, I felt myself like, yo, you want to go play ball? And I was like, nah, I want to go cut hair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that started keeping me out of shit, because I always was getting into stupid little shit or whatever. And it was like, I don't have time to get into anything. I get my breakfast, I come back, I get my shit, I'm at the barbershop all day. Anybody getting a cut, you had to go through me. I'm running lists and all that. You know, I'm getting people in there to cut, and now I'm building bonds with other cats that I know, and we're in the barbershop. And in Shirley, everything was in the barbershop. I wear glasses. I'm cutting dudes from the optical lag. I'm getting brand new glasses every day. You know, I'm playing pool, all that. So I had to run around, and then even on the units, the CO would let me cut hair all day. I was cutting COs. You know, I don't know if he was in Shirley. Tom, he looked like Kevin McHale. He ran the gym. This dude gave me a job in the gym just to get haircuts.
That's wild.
And so I wouldn't be sneaking in the gym every unit, every movement. Like, Tom, can I get a pass to stay? I got to cut hair. I got a job there. So I had a job at the barbershop, a job on the unit, so I could be out running. I had cut hair for him to do my job on the unit so I could go to the gym. You know what I mean?
So time must start flying at this point now.
Now I notice it's chewing my time. And not only that, it kept me out of mad shit, even with like, and it got me into some shit. Like, all of a sudden I'm getting the Ips snatch me up. Like, we know you did the crown on the back of this dude's head. Oh, okay. What? No, it better be gone off his head by tomorrow. Stupid shit, designs you weren't supposed to do, and I'm over here graffitiing on the back of dudes' heads. You know what I mean? Putting a whole postmark card in their head. Now I knew I had it. I'm in school. I go to take my state board test. I'm nasty with the razor because that's all I was cutting with a razor.
Right.
So even the state board guy, his name was like Vendetti, he was like, man, you're so nice with that razor. I was like, you should see me with a knife. You know? And he was like, with that attitude and the way you cutting, he was like, you're a barber. Be a barber for the rest of your life. And I started loving it. And then teaching dudes and seeing like, wow, this dude a few months ago didn't have nothing like to even think of wanting to do this. And now he's actually intrigued to do this.
Inspiring other people. That's got to be a great feeling, especially in such a negative place.
Yeah,
man.
and then you got cats coming up to you like, yo, man, it's good looking out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that fade shit is working. This is working. You know what I mean? So it was a great thing for me because I found my way, like, word.
And
I
it's
can go
cool
out.
too, because to teach someone a skill, it's like, you know, the whole saying, like, I could give you a fish, but if I teach you how to fish, right, now you can see somebody who may not have money, may not have family, they got to hustle now.
And we all eat.
Yeah, so that's what's up. Do you stay in Shirley the rest of your time?
So now I'm in Shirley. I'm in the barber shop. I got so much movement. It was the best thing for me because I love what I was doing. But here goes back to the movement I had, the ways I had. You know, I loved wearing a chain in there. I loved wearing sneakers that just came out. I don't know if you remember them Boings and Bounces. They came out. I had them 2 days after they were out in
Stuff
prison.
like that draws attention to you.
In prison, they're like, yo, how do you do this? Now they're looking at tapes and all that. I don't even notice till after. The Ips are looking at tapes to see if I'm switching off, and they couldn't figure it out. Red flag, but they're like, when they grab me up every time, I'm like, nah, I got him off a dude, a new man. You know what I mean? So then they seen the flow of like me always having different sneakers. Okay, what are you gonna stop the kid from buying and selling?
Right.
He's not getting into fights and all that. But I had so much movement where other shit was going on.
Is this where the outside case comes in?
The outside case comes in. You know, I got shit coming from the street to me, in my possession, to someone else. And all I know is the check is here. I confide and say, B, yo, B, check this out. This is the move. Me and you've been here 6 years together, dog. I'm doing this and that. I need to go out here, hold this for me. And when I come back, I put my man on, which is supposed to be my man. And then you find out, and I found out my whole life that the ones that are really your friends ain't really your friends. They're there to be your friend while they can, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, I get into the CR rape, and I took forever to get in that because I had to finish my barber's license, but I didn't want to stop that. And I was like, I'm not going home anytime soon. I still got 5 years. I'm not doing the drug program. One of my counselors got me in there, like, get it out the way now, and then, you know, maybe you can try to for something. I go in the drug program. I catch a fucking distribution case in the drug program. I had shit coming from the street, handed to me, to someone else, to this and that. Tried heroin before in my life. All my boys that were my boys were growing up. Rest in peace to a handful of them that are no longer here. They dealt with the Oxycontins to save my life being in prison. The heroin shit.
Right.
I already knew, like, when I was younger, heroin wasn't even, it was like, don't be a crackhead.
So you end up having to go to court for
So,
that, and then you
I'm in
you
Shirley.
get more time?
This cat ends up, back in the day when I first went in, you got a receiver. And I had an old realistic Radio Shack receiver. And I used to open this up with the sticker and put the package in there. My man had the same one, so when I would go, I'd put it in his. Long story short, I'm like, yo, I gotta go out. I have a basketball tournament, this and that. Can you hold me down? This dude's gonna come by after chow and this and that. He was like, no, I gotta go to this program. Cool. I go to play ball. While I'm playing ball, here comes like 7 imps.
Shit.
I look, I'm playing ball. They walk right into the Shirley meeting. They come into the yard. They go to the right. They go into the basketball court. They say my name, and I'm ready to run like I'm on the street. Like, where am I going?
Where the fuck you go?
I knew shit was already going down because right when they grabbed me, it wasn't like, yo, we need to talk to you. The first thing out of his mouth was like, Mr. Mendonça, you have the right to remain silent.
Wow.
Anything you would say against you is used against you in the court of law, and here we go. And I'm like, oh, shit. Take me down to New Man. Throw me in a tank, dry tank. Damn. They tell me I got to shit, piss, all that. I refuse the urine. They were like, no, you got to give us the urine. I'm like, nah, I'm refusing the urine. They were like, nah, you got to be dirty, this and this. And I'm like, I'm refusing everything. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yep.
They come in the room, they bring my receiver. They open the receiver up. They're like, is this yours? Yes. Is this your number on here? Yes. Is this yours inside? No. You sure? Yeah. You have the right to remain silent again. Da-da-da-da-da. Now they go to my whole crew, you know, because we sit at tables together and all that. They urine everybody.
Everybody.
You know what I mean? One cat that was supposed to have the package doesn't get urined, doesn't get called down.
It's obvious what happened.
All of us are already like,
yeah.
Yo, who the fuck?
One? Yeah.
They moved me to one side of the hole, my man to the other side, so we can't talk. The dude that he was involved with, they got him too, dirty urine on my side, another dude on that side. So you're like, why are they breaking us up? Because there was a case involved now. We get a kite 2 days later. CO comes and hits dudes with the paperwork like, yo, this dude that y'all were chilling with is now in Shirley minimum.
Wow.
This dude didn't even have classification, wasn't even looking at a minimum.
Wow.
Fell in love with something that weighed too much. She was paying like she was weighing. She wanted him down the minimum. He told on his crew to get what he wanted.
What's the conversation like with your parents at this point now? Like, I'm
like,
sure
you don't
they're
even
like,
know,
what the
like,
hell, man? Like,
it wasn't even my parents. The conversation I had
dad
with myself. How am I calling home to say, oh, by the way, you guys just came up here a couple months ago and had this big ceremony like it was college. And granted, I finished my high school diploma. I finished my barber's program. I did another program, another advancements program. I was doing college of correspondence courses, trying to learn business because I wasn't hanging with dummies in there either. Like, I always used to hang with a good caliber of cats that were very smart. And then I had a couple cats that were just into the game. When you're making money and you're paying $300 phone bills to your girlfriend at the time, and you have money to send out to get a car to get visit, you're doing certain things and you're making certain moves and all that, and you're like, yo, I'm gonna need this when I get out. And at the whole time, I already had that mentality of hustling before and seeing it before, but now I'm like, this is what I'm being brought up around. All my boys were drug dealers from New York, Fall River, New Bedford, Springfield. I'm talking about like heavy hitting scenes. I'm making connects with cats that are like, for this, you can get this. I'm already moving in there. So that was my whole thing. Like, I'm going to come home and cut hair and no one would know what I'm doing over there. Sell like, yo, I haven't even gone home yet.
So did that change your mind about getting out?
No, it changed my mind when I made that call, like you said. And I called my parents and my father was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm caught up in some shit, some ring shit. And I can't say over the phone if I'm taking a fall for somebody, but I'll let you know tomorrow. And the whole time, my father's like, well, and I've done this to him before when I was in Cambridge on some other shit where he made a call and I fucked it up. And I was like, yeah, man. But then I go back in my cell and I'm like, fuck, I'm sitting in the hole now for 2 days. My door opens in the next 2 days in the morning. Yo, transport's here for you. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, you got to go to court, district court, to be arraigned. Damn. Now I get there and I'm getting arraigned for distribution of heroin, possession of heroin. I'm like, yo, I got a lawyer right off the bat, some dude who's like, yeah, we can try to get this, but I think they might try to indict you. And I'm like, oh, shit. So now here we go that I got a new case. I'm not out of prison yet. I might be getting indicted to get a from and after. Now this 10 years might turn into 20 years because of the crime while incarcerated. Wow. Right away, I get back to the thing. One of my mans, he was like, yo, dog, I was having bad thoughts that one of us foretold. We know who it is. I know it wasn't you. How are they charging you with this? And I'm like, because I actually got caught in possession. Not in possession, but I was also like, yo, it's a setup. That's why I didn't want to take the urine. Came with not taking the urine was telling my lawyer that I was dirty. I was a user. I was holding it for somebody. You know what I mean? Because I'm already learning the ways to get over by people telling me how they got out and said there was a crackhead and they didn't get charged with all these drugs because dudes were using those ways to not get so much time because now they were more lenient on users than sellers. What happens, I call my girl Cheryl again, my lawyer. I was like, Cheryl, I fucked up again. And she's like, oh my God, what happened? I said, I ain't gonna lie to you. I was involved with XYZ. I'm taking the fall for this. And she was like, here we go with the fall guy shit again. I'm like, it isn't that it's a fall guy shit. You already know if I'm involved, I did it. No one else had anything. She gets me a speedy trial. And when we get there, she was like, yo, I can work it out right now. We get a year in Bill Ricker right now because if not, they could go and try to indict you. Now this turns into a 3 to 5. So I had 3 years left on my state bid. Had to wrap that up and then go. I'm in the whole 8 months in Shirley. They tried to ship me to Walpole. I had a son at the time. Walpole, we all knew when you got to Walpole, you were stuck there. You weren't going nowhere, and they stopped contact visits. I reached out to a cat that was on this show. Yo, check this out, OG. I'll get my visits back in 18 months, but then I won't see my son. I can't have that happen. That's my crutch, you know what I mean? This and that. My man's doing a life bid, and he's like, yo, it is what it is. I don't like you. You don't like me. Tell them I'm your enemy. I'm your enemy. I send you a bag of money, whatever, cool. Me and this dude claim each other as enemies. And now I'm still like, I was still trying to work the system. I just got caught, now I'm trying to work it. You're not gonna send me up to Walpole. They were trying to send me to Shirley Max. My lawyer came in and was like, because you guys, someone set him up on this compound, we don't want him here. The only place they got to send me was Old Colony. I'm in Old Colony a year. But this is what happened when I was in Shirley Medium. I'm in the hole all these months. I get caught up. I finally have to tell my parents. I left it from them for a little while. Like, I got caught up. I didn't tell them I got a case. After I talked to Cheryl, she's like, yo, you have to call your parents. What about if they find out this and that? This isn't you, da-da-da. And I was like, you know what, you're right. I ended up calling up, talking to my pops, telling them, like, now they got me with a case, this and that. I get a visit from my mom's 2 days after. She brings my son up. They don't let my son in. My pop stays outside. My mom's comes in. What's going on here? This and that. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. We're trying all we can. He was just doing so good, this and that. And she was like, I'm gonna have to step away from this until you figure out what I'm about to tell you. I don't want nothing to do with you. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, at the end of the day, there's no right way to do the wrong thing. And if you're gonna do the wrong thing, this is your life. She was like, ruin it if you want. Until you figure that out, call me. And I went back to my cell and I was bawling, dog, and I'm crying. I'm like, damn, this is my queen. My mother went out to Texas, brought my son to Texas to visit me.
Oh, wow.
That's G shit. Like, shows up on my birthday, like, I got a brand new pair of sneakers that the CO's gonna give you. And I'm here to visit you through a fucking window in Texas. And I'm watching her like, the only one that's like, you're all done. I'm feeling that from my pops already because I've been fucking up around him and all that. But as soon as that hit, I was like, yo, you're never going home, dog. And then that's a month and a half later, that's when I took the plea bargain to be like, let me get this over with.
So then you finish in Old Colony and then go to Bill Ricker?
So I go to Old Colony. I begged and plead to get into the drug program. They were saying no because I caught a case while I was there, and I said I needed it, this and that. And I wrote a letter to this girl Becky that was running the program at the time. I was working in the barbershop, you know what I mean? Old Colony was cool, open, but I also was moving different. Because when I tell you I had 10 pairs of sneakers in Shirley, when I got lugged, I had none. Your closest people come and snag your shit, this and that. I had my best friend. I told you earlier, we used to go out at night and jump in the aquarium and steal fucking coins as kids.
Wow.
He was up in Shirley with me, and he was my like OG that was the first young kid from my neighborhood to go upstate for stabbing someone. Then he came in on a violation. He goes and knocks someone out just to get to the hole to spend Christmas with me.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And bring me one of my sneakers. Like, this is one of the dudes that had the sneakers.
Oh, shit.
So I already felt like, damn. At first, my whole crew didn't know who to trust. Now, these dudes, someone stole my shit. Who's really on my team again? This, and that. Then I'm moving different in Shirley. In Old Colony, I'm not really fucking with everybody.
Yeah.
And now dudes know, like, oh, this dude had a case, a heroin case. Okay, what can you get in? I'm getting piss test every fucking week. First weekend, and it was good. Every time I went to a camp or anywhere, I had nothing coming out of the whole 8 months. I walked into Old Colony. As soon as I hit OU, Marky.
Yeah.
And I got a brand new TV. I get the first haircut I want. Here's this, that. As a barber, it's the best job in prison besides laundry and X, Y, Z.
Especially if you're good, too.
I ain't gonna lie. I've been on the ball court ready to fight with you, and someone's like, don't hurt your hand. I need a visit. I'll hit him for you. You're like, yo, chill.
So tell me about, like, I want to get into Bill Ricker. You're getting close to coming out.
So now I'm in Old Colony. I finished the drug program. Nobody, I wasn't doing intentional. I got a letter from my guy that ran Mass School of Barbering. When you get to the street, if you ever get back here, you should really try to get in contact with me and become an instructor on the street. And I'm thinking like, wow, this dude really wants me to go out there and teach people. I got it. These dudes, I got my license. I'm going to go out. And then that's when the straight edge came out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because now I'm in Old Colony. All the COs know that I got a razor. I'm cutting COs down to cons. And one of my guys who just passed away started fucking with me and calling me straight edge. He was like, nigga, because everywhere you at, you got 2, 3, 4 straight edges on you. I ain't fucking with you. And it started catching like, yo, I like that name, straight edge.
So you already had that name in your head
I had it
before
as a
you
straight
got
edge,
out.
and then I'm like, oh, straight edge. And then it was also like a trigger to say, I have to live that straight edge. I can't go out and do this because it's just going to take
double meaning,
this away. You know what I mean? But also the straight edge because I always had that razor on me ready to cut hair. You know what I mean? All the way embedded
So
into
did you
my
have it
skin,
in your mind
what I
that
mean?
you wanted to get out and cut hair?
So I started coming up with them goals, talking to a lot of older cats and everything. If you don't write your goals down, they don't succeed. You know what I mean? You can talk them all you want. I watched dudes do the life in the installment plan.
Yep.
I'm doing 10 years, and in my 10 years, I watch you come in and out 4 or 5 times.
Right.
I watched dudes try to clown me out of like, oh, you're going to school, just so I could be on their level. And I realized, dude, this barbering's gonna save my life. And not only that, I got to live that straight edge. I said, when I go home, I'm going to go work for someone. And I already had, like, Troy hollering at me, like, you get out, Corin. So I had a couple people like, yo, when you get out, you get a job right away.
Yeah.
I'm sending dudes home with nasty haircuts and all that. So I was like, yo, I can do this when I get out, you know what I mean? But then I get into Old Colony. I was ready to be like, yo, fuck it, I'm going to wrap up here. And then the Fed block opened up there. And they were like, yo, check this out. All the workers that help do the Fed blocks are going to get early classification. And I'm in there painting and shit already just to get out, you know what I mean? So they had this big push that if you finish a drug block, they were going to classify you out to a medium. They sent me back to Shirley. I get to Shirley, everybody's like, even the Ips, they're fucking with me every day. They wouldn't let me have no movement. Come to find out, one of the reasons why I went back to Shirley, Richie Conran, he was the Mass School of Barbering.
Oh, okay.
He made a call to a counselor in Shirley to make a call to see if they could get me back there.
Wow.
So he ended up putting his neck out even for the Ips to say, just let him in the school.
Okay.
His movement would be to hear to the school. And they were like, and they put me on some like, yo, if I see you make a wrong move.
Right.
And I was like, how about this? I'll go to C block if that's the case. And they knew that wasn't happening before. And so they were like, C block? Nah, you can stay on the deaf side, DEF side. And then I wrapped up out of there. And they even had me in Shirley. I wrapped up. They had me there the whole day. Like, if Bill Ricker doesn't come, you're gone. You get to go home.
Shit.
They came at like fucking 9:30 at night to snatch me up.
Did you get your hopes up a little bit?
Yeah, at first I'm like, I'm going home. Let's see, you know what I mean?
Ooh. Did you go to a minimum from there, CWP or anything like
So
that?
the thing was, even with my 9 to 10 bid, I went to parole to apologize to the family, make my peace, and I went to say that I'm wrapping my bid up. You know what I mean? I'm already into this bid. I didn't want to go home with nothing. I just caught another case. I got another blessing. Yeah. I wanted to go home and be like, yo, you have to get out there and just chill. Right. Nobody can be over you. But now Bill Ricker, I get there. They're giving out all this good time. My pops Again, my pops knows the world. His man is the sheriff that killed himself, the Pablo. I'm in Newman's, I get a call down to the fucking superintendent's office. And he's like, you're not here to fuck around, right? And I'm like, what? And he puts my shit on there. He's like, system threat groups, XYZ. Your father's telling me all these good things about you. But your system track coming through the door, they're like, you just came from where? Upstate, 10 years, another case. They're like, oh, we're not worried about you. All I'm worried about is the dude that's going to try to test you. And I'm like, I'm not here. So even when I went to Bill Ricker, I was already had my blinders on. I already knew a lot of people that were going to be there from doing time from Cambridge.
That's our
State,
county, right? Yeah.
Our county. I walk in, I'm low key. I go to Newman's. In Newman's, I get called to the superintendent's office. He's like, yo, you'll never see a minimum here. You might get CWP, but you're going to work for it. At that time, my father's other boy ran the kitchen, Esposito, from East Cambridge, ran the kitchen. He called me down the next day and was like, you're going to work in the kitchen. Michelle Green from the canteen in Cambridge wants you on the loading docks.
Shit.
I get down to the loading docks. 2 of my guys are working there from the street.
Wow.
I'm like, oh, shit, they see me. But first I went into population for 3 days, and then I was going to have to wait to get into the kitchen. I'm staying so low-key. I see in all these cats, like faces I know. I get outside in the yard. I use the phone. I'm going back. One of these young kids that were younger than me I grew up with, he notices me. Marky, I'm like, oh, shit. Before you know it, Chow Hall comes. Rest in peace, Ryan Chasson.
Oh, yeah. That's my guy, man. Rest in peace to Ryan.
So I'm at the Chow Hall eating by myself. He sends my other guy, Little Willie, over to the table to ask me, yo, you from Cambridge? Why ain't you talking to nobody? Why ain't you coming to say you're from Cambridge? And of course, my mentality is, please leave me alone. I'm going to stab you with this because I'm here to do my time, bro.
That's it,
I got more time in the toilet than you have. And he's like, no, it ain't that type of problem. Then I look up, and I thought Ryan was his uncle. And I've done time with his uncle.
Yeah.
And his uncle's right-hand man. And I've only met Mark a couple times. But his uncle's co-defendant was my guy, which when I went upstate, Harry Lever, rest in peace. He was one of like the big Irish dudes to be like, yo, this is my guy on this team.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like on our side, if he's going to sit at this table, this is my guy. So I was like, and then I looked and I'm like, that's his nephew. This dude looks just like him. And then he came over and he was like, yo, because then he went over, he was like, I was like, by the way, my name's Marky the Willie. And he went over and told me, he was like, oh, yo, I heard about you. My fault, man, this and that. Before you know it, I got dudes from the port, everybody sending me kites and stuff. Yo, I didn't know you were here. Boom, now I'm in the yard cutting hair every day. Rest in peace to little Nilt.
Yeah, Nilton too.
That was my guy, you know what I mean? My heart in there, you know, baby Nilt. I'm cutting hair and all that. And then I got a call like, yo, you want to go to CWP? Everybody was like, what? And they were like, you're not going to get a minimum, but you'll do that. So my pops had so much pull that he got me to CWP. And when I went to CWP to work, my job was going to work with him.
Wow.
My last like month. So it was kind of dope, you know what I mean?
You're pretty much free at that point, almost.
This dude drives me right to Squires. My pops' man owned Squires at the time. I'm like, oh, this dude's a G. He's bringing me to a strip club. He brought me there to meet his man. There was no strippers in there. I was like, come on, man. He was like, nah, you got to stay on that path. You'll see this one day.
Yeah, exactly.
Just intrigued me from that whole lifestyle. Like, yo, I'm all set with that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what
So,
I mean?
well, man, you've been doing a lot since you've been out, man. I really want to get into that.
So I went right to Troy. It's like, literally, I had a girl that held me down for years when I was in. I get out of respect. She picks me up. Before I even went to see my mother and my son, because I see them every weekly, you know what I mean? I went right to Troy's.
Yeah.
I walked into Troy's. Check was my man before I went to the Bing. Troy was like my family. Troy started, one of his shops was my sister's old shop down the coast.
Yep.
So I already wrote him and was like, yo, if you give me a chance, you know, I won't fuck up, dude. I need this. Troy hired me, best thing of my life. You know what I mean? I had a chance to go to a shop in Boston. I already knew if I went over there, it was through my mans, and I knew what they was already doing.
Yeah.
I had to stay away from that because I would have pulled up with a Benz 2 days later, like, And I knew being around dudes that actually knew who I was, I had a better chance.
Yeah.
Plus, it was Troy's, dude.
Yeah, exactly. My
It
grandmother
was
lived in that building right there.
It was
there.
04.
Yeah.
Troy was on fire. He
Yeah.
was like the movie The Barbershop. You know what I mean?
Facts. Yep.
So I went into a
crazy
great
how many
environment.
people came from that.
Part of our culture growing up, like we was into hair and fashion and stuff. So Troy was a pioneer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I told you, my cousin started, went to the Marines, still cuts like firefighters and all, but Troy was the man, you know what I mean? Check was cutting over there, my man Styles. So I get there, and now Cyrus was in high school. I end up taking Cyrus's chair because he wasn't there, you know what I mean? Which is great. Look at Cy now. Like, he's the meanest thing moving, you know what I mean?
Salute the
When
Cy.
it comes to his skills,
bro.
when it comes to the person he is, because he's cut from that cloth of Troy.
Exactly.
You know
And
what I
so
mean?
how did you stay there until he went to the new location? Or?
So I stayed with Troy, and I gave myself, so I had, even before I came out, I had drawings. I had drew my whole logo. I draw Straight Edge Barbershop.
Oh,
And
so
it was Marky Straight Edge Barbershop. after working at Troy's, I was kind of like, it feels like it's Troy's shop because it's Troy. I want it to be everybody's shop. I don't want nobody to say like, you work for me. If anybody that works at my shop, they work with me.
Right.
They're self-employed. I'll never tell somebody how to work, how to talk, how to walk.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? You ain't asking me for toilet paper. You know what I mean?
So you didn't want to have your specific name on
So I
it for
gave
that
it to
reason.
Troy, and I told him like, yo, no, I'm gonna be here a sponge, and I'm gonna work for you forever. If I can't get my own, I have a 5-year plan. In 5 years, I can't get my own barbershop. You got me in your chair forever. I came, like I said, in the joint. I could get dudes would get kites that I was making it back to Shirley. By the time I got to Shirley, I had a list of 30 people. Like, I want a haircut. So I never had that problem of like getting haircuts. I go to work for Troy's. I'm there 3 days without a cut. Like, what? I'm the FNG, the fucking new guy.
Right.
So I was getting discouraged. I was working still with my father at a sheet metal factory. I would go there at 4 in the morning, and I had to have structure. I always told myself, being in the joint, if I have structure in here and I lose the structure when I get out and I don't continue with the same structure I'm trying to build, I'm gonna lose focus. Because I noticed what it did to me when I stopped shying away from my job, the barbershop, the things I love to do, which was eating my time up, but also saving me from being in time and time again. I just realized like I'm a routine person. I was a boy getting thrown in routines to now I'm in a routine. And if I don't get a routine of my own, prison doesn't end when they shut the door in the parking lot. Some motherfuckers get stuck there. And they're like, I made it out, now I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do. So I had no pride in all that. I had too much pride, but I had no pride when it came to working. I worked in the kitchen. I would turn up for $1 in prison. I would turn a pot into a 20-inch rim. You're telling me when I go to the street, I can't get a fucking $10 job? And I watched a lot of dudes at times fall off like, I'm not working for that. I'm not working there. Instead of swallowing their pride, you was just wearing state underwear and bobos, working for somebody for $1 a day and some freedom.
Yeah.
Work 2 $10 jobs, that's 20 an hour. And not only that, you know, my pops always told me, you're gonna wear this jacket. I got this jacket now. I'm gonna wear it. And I was always hearing that, like, even my boys, when they came back, yo, I had a job, they found out I had this, gone. And I was like, yo, no one's ever gonna tell me. And my father already instilled that as a young person, like, even as a young man growing up, I watched my father start a business, lose a business, start a business, give up on unstoppable grind. My father had 3 years of schooling. This dude was probably the best fucking carpenter I knew, all from knowledge.
So
you know
was
what I mean?
it 5 years before you got the shop, or did you
It
come
was
to that
5 years. So
a little sooner?
I'm in Troy's, I'm living, you know what I mean? I come out, I'm nice and trim, I'm working out. Before you know it, these dudes got me eating the world. I'm going to Celtics games. I'm doing everything because they was already in an environment where it was popping. You know, it was great. I had dudes to humble me, dudes to even like see them having so much. And I knew at one time I started being like, I got to catch up to everybody. And then I was like, pump your brakes. If I go to catch up to him, I'm going to surpass this dude and I'm going to prison. I kept thinking about like that case in there, like, damn, I was doing it. And all that shit went to a lawyer and something else. This shit ain't going to work for me. And it also came with me coming home. All of a sudden, I did a lot of time at a young age. I was left for dead by a lot of cats in the sense of like, even family members I would call on holidays and you'd hear everybody like, hey, how you doing? Are you staying out of trouble? Stay out of trouble. The first thing is trouble. And then give me your address. I'm going to write you. And then 2 years later, I'm on that phone again. Like, oh, I forgot to write you 2 years ago. So, you know, that false shit, you know what I mean? So it was more like I was on some like I have to do for myself. Come out for Troy's. While I'm at Troy's, I catch a case. That was it for me right there. Like I caught a case for a stolen car case on my own car. I had my ex at the time. We break up. Shit was bitter. Broke up for whatever reasons. You know, when you're with somebody, you change. And it's easy to be with somebody when you're not with them every day. And then when you're with them in reality, it's like we're two different people. Whatever it is. Car gets reported stolen. They see the name. I get a call from her girl like, yo, by the way, this chick reported that car stolen. The day before, she calls me like, yo, the car you gave me? Yeah, she was like, it overheated. I left it on the street. They towed it. I go to Phil's. Phil gives me the car back, tows it to my house. I've known him since I was a kid. I'm fixing the car on a Sunday. I take it to Revere Beach. Like, I'm going to get me a lobster roll, make sure the shit's nice. I'm at Revere Beach. Her girl calls me, yo, the car's reported stolen. I creep back to Cambridge. I parked the car. I already had the title for the car. I took the plates off. I gave her girl the plates back. I get to my house. I go to step on the steps and I hear freeze. And I'm like, freeze. I turn around and I see the guy now, Asian cop from Cambridge. This dude was sweating and all I see is him like this and his partner looking at him like, you pulled the gun out? Wow. And then I realized after why he pulled the gun out because Here goes an ex-con with one of the stolen car cases on my adult case. I tell you when they built that up, it was another firearms with ex-firearms on his thing, a manslaughter, a red flag. That's all they see. This dude's scared to death. You know what I mean? I knew he was a rookie after he gets me to the station, even when I'm like, my man, you got to put the fingerprint like this, and I'm teaching him how to do it. But I was just discouraged, like, wow, now I'm like a fucking puppet. I'm sitting in the booking room, chained again to this motherfucking bench, and I'm a guinea pig where there's all these older cops that used to be at me and see me and all that, and they all walk in like, damn, man, that didn't take long, huh? And that was my whole thing, like, I don't want to be viewed as the boy I was. You know what I mean?
Do you feel like you let people down, including yourself?
Let everybody down in my family, because now if this happened, I get back to my house. I'm that guy that just got out of prison after 10 years, 11 years. I'm working in cars in front of my house. This is the shit I was doing before. People are coming by my house, hanging out. This is the music era where systems and all that. If you know me, since I've been out, I've had crazy cars and all that. I'm into the car game, motorcycle scene. All my neighbors are watching me, and now they're watching them drag me out of there again. My whole family's out in front of my house like, what's going on? My ex comes running up the street. I just want to talk to him. The cop's like, what? You know who this is? We wanted him regardless. I'm sitting in a cell after I teach you how to do my prints, give me a pillow and a phone call. It's Memorial Day weekend. Troy's in Martha's Vineyard. Everybody was away. My cousin was the only one. And I had bread when I came out. Got a break in my house. I get the call from the bailiff. I had Jim Brothers as a probation officer because I got out for 6 months on probation. When I walked in there, he already told me, you did this much time, I'm not worried about you. I'm not even going to charge you the fee, just don't come back. He gets the call now. Yo, this dude's been arrested. He was like, I don't want to hold on him.
Wow.
Right off the bat, the bailiff was like, I want $5,000. I'm out of here in a half hour. I got vacation.
Shit.
Within a half hour, now I'm getting bailed out. I bailed out. I'm crying. I'm frustrated. Like, how did this little girl get me caught up when I did nothing? But at the same time, like, damn, everybody just looked at me like this shit again. Next time I go to court, the judge is like, all right, this is a stolen car case that I'm reading here, and the report says that you guys confiscated a title as well. What is the deal with this car? And I'm like, Your Honor, can I speak?
Yeah.
Here comes the paperwork. Here's the title. We can take a ride at recess. The car's outside in my name. This girl already wrote an affidavit. She was going through her own things. I don't hold it against her. Continued out of fine in 6 months. I came up with this. I told myself, one day I'll have my shop. It'll keep me on point. It'll keep me going to the way I want to do things. Like, if I can accomplish this, I'm straight. You know what I mean? I'm buying cars, selling cars on the side, saving my money, living life. All of a sudden, one day, I look, and my wife, my girl at the time, my wife now, she reminds me, she was like, damn, dude, you're doing it. You said when I met you, you was going to do this. You're doing it. You love what you're doing. We're working this and that. My wife was pregnant at the time. We just had my daughter, 16 years old last week. I looked at it and was like, yo, it's 4.5 years. The summer before, when I conceived my daughter, the day I conceived my daughter, I ride a motorcycle. I ride for a motorcycle club. I was out in New York. I'm riding back from New York. I get ran down on the Mass Pike by a drunk driver. So I had a case.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I already was into the cars, had fly cars. Now I get a check from this case a year later after. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, word, thank you for breaking me up. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy a new Lexus. And then I'm thinking about, I'm like, oh shit, if I don't do what I said I'm gonna do, I have 6 months, I'm gonna be at Troy's forever. Shit. Troy was already in the means of, the lady was gonna sell his building. He had to move. And Troy encouraged me because I was working for him. There was a time he got hurt. I would open his shop before him. I would close after him. Yeah. I would sweep. I would fucking hang up fucking surround sound. I would do everything like an owner to help him out. To the point where he pulls me aside and he pulls my coat like, yo, you ever think of opening up a second shop with me and you can run it and this? And I'm like, damn, he's good faith in me. I could do it. And then I was like, yo, I would love to, but I'll only do that if I can't do. Yeah. And he was like, straight edge, because I was always promoting my shit. You know what I mean? Long story short, I get my check, and I had to go to Troy, and that was the hard part, because it's not like you go to your girl and shit's lovely, and you're like, oh, by the way, baby, I got to move out. You ain't trying to move out. I was at a happy home. I had my mans there and all that. So I found the shop in Somerville on a whim of going across the way. I'm already paying so much a chair. I was doing great with myself. I was building clientele. I had cats coming out that never been to Troy's before, coming out the joint, coming in to see me. I'll be real with you. Troy would tell you, when I first started working at Troy's, it was different. Dudes used to walk in and stare at me, shut the door, and be like, you got this dude working here? Are you serious? Wow. This place is going to get raided, or something's going to go down in here, and this and that. And they were still looking at me as the boy I was. Wow. So I always told myself, No one's gonna look at me unless I'm doing the right thing, unless I'm standing on my word. And I was already standing on my word as far as like I'm not going back to prison, God willing. You know what I mean? I'm not out here bubbling. I even had so many fly whips from working hard that I was accused of my family. Certain family members like, "Are you selling drugs?" It's like, "No, dude, I'm working hard for mine." You know what I mean? I ended up saying like, you know, this is what I got to do. I took the money, and it was just like meant to be. I go to where I work. It used to be a little Portuguese store across the street. I go there to get some fish for my mother. And I'm looking at this place, and I called Troy and was like, "Yo, there's a place over here." And he was looking for a place, and he was like, "I'm not going to Somerville. I'm from Cambridge, Cambridge Street." And I was like, "All right." And then all of a sudden, I go and I'm looking in the window, and some lady comes down. The old lady, "What do you want?" I was thinking about a barbershop. There was a barbershop for years. Call the owner. So I call this old man, old Somerville guy, Italian guy. He's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to. What do you want for down that storefront?" I was like, "A barbershop. I'll be there tomorrow, 1 o'clock," and hangs up on me. I go to meet him, my best friend, who I told you is my cousin firefighter. I call him like, "Yo, I don't know what I'm gonna do, man. You should come look at this place with me, yo. I still don't know how to do things." You know what I mean? And it was real because, you know, you've been out of prison. After 11 years, I feel the dudes that come on here, even your man after 35 years, I don't know, certain people, I look at him like, "How'd you do it?" I did 11 years. I came out, you know what I mean? Dudes used to be like, "Yo, what's the matter?" I'd come back from the store sweating. And they're like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Yo, I went to CVS." And they're like, "Yeah?" And I'm like, "Dude, I went to buy toothpaste." And I was stuck. I was sweating. I was nervous. And they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "My whole life there's been Crest or Colgate. Now there's 50 fucking toothpaste. I don't even know how to fucking
Someone else has said the same thing.
Pick certain things. I'm going to the store. They're like, "So what do you want?" I've ordered subs my whole life. I'm just like,
wow.
You know what I mean? And then even the way I was cutting, like, I'm sweating in the chair one day, and the whole shop's looking at me laughing. I never cut a kid in my life. I got a little motherfucker in my chair beating me up, and I'm like, you know what I mean? So there was all these things I'm adapting to, you know what I mean? I was learning how to get pulled over.
What advice would you give to somebody who wants to get into entrepreneurship, especially maybe coming out of prison, man?
It's all in you and how you push.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got dudes out here that, my man Blaze, everybody eats.
Yeah.
I've had him come to me one time and said,
from NAACP out of
and when I see that, my heart glows because
me too, man. That's amazing.
I remember I didn't know Blaze, different age brackets. I'm sitting in front of my shop one day. This dude pulls up and gets out the car like, "Marky, Bob, what's up, man?" And I'm like, "Yo, what up, dog?" And I'm just thinking, I know I'm from Cambridge. And he was like, "Yo, I read about you in the magazine. I was in a magazine called The Joint." You know what I mean? And it was called the Redemption. And he did a piece on my shop and all that. And it went to the feds and everywhere.
Oh, wow.
And it was like the source magazine for The Joint. And my man had this magazine. He was like, "Yo, I want you in it." So I did a piece on it. And Blaze wrote it. And he read the shit.
Wow.
And he was like, "Yo, from a dude from my city, it's inspiring." And then that's why to this day, I go to everybody eat. I bring my pig roaster out. I roast a pig and 80 racks of ribs, and I give it out. There's dudes out there selling $1 million plates. You know, I'm blessed that I can do that. Can I do it all the time? There's sometimes I've done it, and it took out of my pocket, but it's not about me. That's going to come back. And it's to give back to other dudes to say, "Yo, I can do the same thing one day."
Right, you could do it too. Talk to me a little bit, the riding the motorcycle, man.
I love motorcycles. I lost my front teeth when I was 12 years old on a head-on collision on a scooter, a stolen scooter at that. I loved anything with wheels. So even before I went in, I loved scooters. While I was in, one of my mans that was big time and all that ends up coming in, getting some time. Me and this dude were mad close. He goes out, he comes back in with 1 million years. He said he was going to go out and be a millionaire. He came back a millionaire, but with 20 years. This dude gave me a motorcycle. I haven't even got home. Pick whatever motorcycle you want out of my stable. So I came home to a motorcycle. I was only out 2 days and I touched it. That was like, as soon as I got on it, I forgot everything. And to this day, like, I could sit here right now and have so much on my mind, if it's finances, if it's personal, if it's sorrow, if I'm happy, whatever. And I get on that bike and it's just like wings. It's a whole, you know, you're worried about nothing but paying attention to everything else. You know what I mean?
Amazing, man.
So I started getting into that right off the bat. You know, I got out of prison in September. It was like September of 2004. By January 2005, I have the bike out in front of Troy's. They're like, "Yo, it's freezing out here." I'm like, "I want to ride." You know what I mean? Cool. So I started riding with a bunch of cats, and we got into like starting a motorcycle club.
Nice.
And you know, if a lot of dudes know motorcycle clubs, there's a lot of two different worlds. 1% is 99%. We come out, we are hard ass dudes. We learn in the wrong way, but now we at least know the knowledge of dudes we were in prison with to hip you and say X, Y, Z. What it came down to, I started riding with a group of all good gentlemen, like all good guys, different walks of life, from cops to robbers and all that. And everybody had that one mission of like, this is a way to give back for us and give back to the community, you know what I mean? So since I've been involved in rides, I do charity events, I go to South Carolina, my club does a gun buyback program out there. This year we just had a big ride. One of my members, youngest members of my club at the time, died 5 years, it was a bone marrow cancer. So we still live on and do scholarship funds for him.
What about anything coming up? Anything coming up soon? The good weather's coming
June
right.
23rd, that same ride. We usually, like last year, we brought like 200 people out. We're going to be doing that same ride. I just like getting out, you know what I mean? I was so stuck in this state, in this city, and even when I was younger, I always wanted to get out. That's my means to get out too on the bike. Like I ride from here to South Carolina, you name it, I'll ride, you know what I mean? Some of my best friends are involved in it and this and that. My daughter's been involved in it since little, so she sees the walks and lives of it. It's about giving back. We can enjoy the motorcycles. It's anything in life, it's about giving back. That's one of my outlets to give back. My shop is my other big outlet. Like everybody that works for me has a past.
Tell the people how many barbers you got there, where they can find the location, if there's a phone number, man.
I'm at 216 Somerville Ave, Straight Edge Barbershop. Right next to Target parking lot in Somerville, 617-718-2422. I've been there 15 years now. I've been in business 15 years.
How many? Congratulations, man.
I've had at one time 5 barbers.
Wow.
I have 5 chairs now. I have 4 barbers. All my barbers, I've been blessed for longevity. I've had a barber leave to go become a firefighter. So he just went to another trade. I had another one move out of state, but my longest running barbers I've had check with me 15 years. Styles was with me for like 10 years till he moved on and did his own barbershop. I had another cat from Somerville, my guy Donald. He was with me for 12 years.
Wow.
Went on to Frontline of Fresh, own barbershop.
So how does that feel as you with seeing these guys get?
It feels great when they come back to me and they're like, yo, and they ask me advice and we get to share back and forth.
Amazing.
And you know what I mean? Like I didn't leave Troy's on a good note, and it wasn't a bad thing. It was more of like Troy didn't know how for me to leave. He's never had no one leave such a good situation. And we could have both took it the wrong way, but sat down and talked about it, and it was just best for both of us in life. And, it's still my guy, you know what I mean? Like when I tell you the best barber I know, best father I know. Since I've been out, I've done everything. I roast pigs, dude. I ride a motorcycle. I sell cars. I used to do detailing. I used to do anything you could name of it to make money, just like when I was in the joint or when I was a kid. Fix your flat, whatever. My shop is a way that I can give back to cats that have a past. You know what I mean? My barber now, I got a young cat with me, Lou, 8 years with me. Lou was a young kid in my chair, ready to get in trouble and all that. Tried to become a barber, couldn't do it, came back. He's been raising now a whole family off of my shop. He works for himself. He gets to provide. My next guy is Check, which is with me 15 years. And then I have another cat with me, my guy Hector, who I done 10 years with in the joint, who I tried to get to cut then. Got out, got 10 more years in the feds, runs into somebody, and he's been in my life 5 years, doing great, working hard, you know what I mean? And I like to sit back because I had to sit back and tell certain dudes in my life, like when I got out, I was real popular in the sense of, oh, Marky's home. Before that, you didn't know my P.O. box because I didn't have an address. But all of a sudden, they wanted to be around you. The vultures and the dudes get around you, and you're trying to weed out who you got. And I already came to that sense of like when I caught my 2 cases. My first case, done. Everybody. My second case, certain dudes were done. It gave my man a chance to get out, and I'm watching him now with his guys that get out, and they're on some like, yo, we could be doing this, and it feels great to watch him sit back and take that format to be like, yo, there's no right way to do the wrong thing. I can do this and love doing what I'm doing, you know what I mean? My whole thing too, even with my shop, even with myself personally, I do everything because I love doing it. I love giving back. I love the feeling of people feeling good. And it also shows dudes that I'm out there. I'm not the boy I was. Judge me for the man I am today, not the boy I was.
What do you think that someone can get out of your story? And what's something of value that somebody can
no matter what,
listen to
a day's a day in prison. You don't know if you walk in today, you get stabbed tomorrow. Just because you out, don't let nobody tell you you can't be who you are. Most of the cats that were in there, we was intrigued to other things. Dudes were hustlers and all that. If you have that mentality where you can hustle and go do the wrong thing, you can go out here and live for yourself. If it's 1 job, 2 jobs, that 2 jobs might lead you into that number 1 job when they see your, your work ethics and shit like that. That there was other things you can do. I was such a hustler. I used to work for Lyft. And that was a slap in the mouth, even 10 years after having a business. I have a business, a plowing business as well. I do plowing as well. I have 2 businesses now. I'm hustling on the side, and everybody's like, yo, what are you doing? And I'm driving for Lyft now. Wow. And they're like, why the fuck would you do that? I'm like, because I'm killing my time. And then before you know it, you'd be in the car, and I'd be like, B, my man, I'll give you a ride to where you're going, but I guarantee if I give you a haircut, I'll change your life, my man. I'm bagging clients,
Wow.
So now my barber's like, why are you doing that? And they're seeing people come in like, oh, you got an appointment? No, I'm here with my Lyft driver.
Wow.
A year into Lyft, they fired me. They did that NCIC check where they found all the skinners and shit on there and all that. But then you went after all the guys with violent offenders. I got into it from like one of my mans that was out of jail, and I'm like, what are you doing with yourself? And he's like, yo, dude, I'm driving Lyft. What? And he's like, I'm making money. No one else wanted to give me a job. I can turn the phone on. I can shut it off, go pick up my kids, help my girl, turn it on. Now you just took that opportunity from an ex-con. Other jobs, you have an opportunity to do an anger management class, do a class that, a certification to keep that job or whichever way. Lyft didn't do that. They cut all ex-cons, violent offenders off and all that. Now you have these guys on the street with no jobs. What are they going to turn back to? Hustling, all the wrong shit. You didn't give them no way out, but it was a catch-22. You can fire me while I'm driving with my license, my insured car, driving somebody in the back. I'm a violent offender. I could turn around and hurt somebody. But now I can do a ride share in the back seat where I can hurt the driver and so you'll take my money, but I can't make money with you.
Exactly.
And even that pushed me to say, like, no one's ever going to tell me I can't work for myself. You know what I mean?
It's one thing that you learned about yourself in there that you feel is important to
that I won't give up. You know what I mean? That no one can stop me to tell me I can't do anything. I don't care how tall I am, how small I am. That it's easy to fuck up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't even get out, and I could have ruined my life again.
Yeah.
And I knew I wasn't getting no more chances. And even if I did, but was I really getting a chance? I wasn't giving myself a chance. It's easy to do the wrong thing.
There's no right way to do the wrong thing.
And it goes with a lot of things, And when my mom's told me that, it stuck to me, and that was one of my mottos. You know what I mean?
Man, anything maybe that you wanted to touch on?
Nah, just closing words is like, be who you are. You know what I mean? Let people accept you. You know what I mean? I came from a city. It was who you were, not what you were. You know what I mean? And if people can accept who they are, it doesn't matter what anybody else says about them. And a lot of people get that stigma of like, well, I'm already a con. I'm already this, and that. That has no merit when you can do what you want with your own life. You know what I mean? There's nobody telling you outside in the real world that you can't go do A, B, C. You make the choice to do that, it's going to come back. You know what I mean? It'll definitely come back. And not even on the serious note. I've done it on the small scale note where I'm like, oh, I can cheat with this, and then there goes that karma, you know what I mean? So
yeah, damn. So what would you say to maybe somebody in the juvenile system right now, man? Maybe their mindset's not there. Maybe they think the life that they're living is cool.
Man, I have this talk all the time in my shop, you know what I mean? It really ain't, man. I really, all I could say to that, and it's hard because I'm getting older and I'm watching the generational gap, and I'm watching like the mistakes people are making to impress something, to get things to impress people of what you have or what you are, instead of impressing yourself with what you are, you know what I mean? Stop living that stigma of even catching up. Like these young cats, they're trying to catch up to things that they haven't even lived out yet. Just like the street thing. Half these cats are in the street hating on somebody you don't even know.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you're the same person. You become that same person, and then what are you gonna do?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You need people on your side to help you out. So my whole thing is for the young cats, take advantage of your youth. You know what I mean? Learn all you can. And don't take no for an answer, because it's the rest of your life you're going to have to wear that jacket. Absolutely. And you're going to have to be the man to say, nah, this is the man I am today, not the boy I was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming through. I'm going to end it right here, man. Guys, I'm your host, B. Luke. It is what it is. What's next is what you make it. One more time, that's my guy, Mark.
Ain't no right way to do the wrong thing, man.
I like that.
Live that straight edge life.
I'm gonna use that in the future. Thanks again, guys. It is what it is. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you guys go down to Straight Edge Barbershop. Show some love.
Tune in to B, man. You're doing a great thing, brother. I appreciate you always.
I appreciate you coming, guys. On that note, we out of here. Till the next time. The bounce back. Peace.
Bounce back. You got a moment when they see you down.